celebration of the independence from Pakistan in 1971, which also coincides with the first centenary celebrations of Bangladeshis Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. He is the father of the nation. And on this day in 1971, the nation emerged as an independent country following a 9-month-long blood-stained war of liberation against the Pakistan occupation forces. I feel blessed to be here with you today to celebrate your 50th victory celebration. And I hope that in the future that all of our communities can be together as one and have that warm, welcome feeling to where we all feel safe, secure, and belonging as to one community. And you've shown it here today. So thank you very much for inviting me and for having me here today. I feel honored. Thank you.
Yeah, well now, another finest lady of this city, Honorable Council Member Nithya Raman. Nithya Raman is here with us. Please, if you can come and make a brief statement, because we are standing on her stage. And unless we have to make sure that this stage is coming every year. So please, be mindful of this young lady from Asia, first time making the history here, one of the finest who cares for the people, Nithya Raman. Mikhail. Thank you, ma'am.
Hello, everyone. Hi. How are you? So nice to meet you. I read all about you before this event. Thank you all so much for having me today. It's such a pleasure to be here. I was very proud when I was elected to office last year, just 1 year ago, that I became the first Asian woman ever elected to Los Angeles City Council and the first South Asian ever elected to the City Council in this city. And I was very proud. I think we, as South Asians, have made a big mark here in America. And every time a member from our community can rise up into elected office here, I think we have a duty to make sure that voices from throughout the South Asian subcontinent are heard in our electoral governance, and that we can support events like this and moments of community coming together, because it's not just meaningful for this particular community, it's meaning for all of us as South Asians and all of us as Angelenos when we can come together and celebrate like this. So thank you all so much for having me. I'm so proud and pleased to be here among all of you. I should have worn my sari, I'm so sorry. But I came from somewhere else. But it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Raman. So she's promising, on behalf of her, I am promising the stage here every year. You get it? Big round of applause. Thank you very much for your commitment. Now, very good. Now we have two more distinguished guests who will be running very little late. Mikhail, where is Mikhail? Please go ahead, and very honorable and distinguished two other guests will be very quick, and then we'll hit the street. And before that, we will have a song dedicated to our chief guest, Mr. Professor Shubham Isaac Bari. So you have to listen to that music, and then we go, release our strength with that song on the motorcade. Thank you so much. I'm done here. Mikhail, please take it over.
Hello. Thank you. আমি জালালাবাদ আসিফকে ধন্যবাদ জানাচ্ছি আমাদের সাথে আজকে জয়েন করার জন্য। We are honored to have you. Thank you so much. সুমন বড়ুয়া আঙ্কেল আপনি এবং আমাদের পাইলট ইলিয়াস আপনি স্টেজে আসার জন্য অনুরোধ করছি। Now I like to call on the stage Mr. William Finkel, who worked as a volunteer in Bangladesh during 1971 and was a photojournalist for the time from the end of the liberation until the beginning of the peace. Please give a big hand for Mr. William Finkel.
Can you hear me? I've met many of you. My name is Bill Finkel. I was a volunteer in 71. We were all students at that point and reading about the tragedy, mostly reported in the London press. So like a lot of kids, I wanted to, quote, do something. So I sold my car and I got a ticket to Calcutta and joined a volunteer group. After that, we were arrested by the Indian Army because they didn't want any more white people there. So we were deported and told to go to Delhi to get credentials, which we couldn't get. I met people from Time magazine there, and they said, if you're friendly with the Mukti Bahini, you can be our correspondent. So I was a correspondent from the end of the war to the beginning of the peace. So that was my contribution. And now I'm trying to assemble photographs into a book for distribution. So from my memory, I met many Bangladeshi freedom fighters, and I was inspired, and many are actually here today. Warmest congratulations and appreciation for what you did. People just don't realize how dangerous it was and how young they were. I mean, the leader was Tiger Siddiqui. He was 22 years old. Many of the people here were 13, 14. I met a man who was in the Mukti Bahini in Sector 7, and he went on to become a physician and a PhD and a prominent pharmaceutical company executive. And I asked him right after the war, what did you want to do? What was your goal right after the war? Celebrate the great work of the freedom fighters, and that's our goal today. But in addition to that, this is a good time to acknowledge the enormous progress that's happened in the last 50 years. I mean, when Bangladesh was the second poorest country in the world in 1971, today they have a communication satellite launched by SpaceX called the Bangabandhu 1. They have a nuclear reactor, they have high-speed rail. They've made progress that the dominant countries of India and the Soviet Union simply could not have imagined. And I think in a short phrase, the oppressed have overtaken the oppressors, and now they're way ahead of Pakistan and are about to compete with India. So it's a time of enormous pride, I think, and enormous promise for future celebration. So I know time is short, so salam alaikum, joy Bangla.
Yes! Thank you, Dr. Finkel, and we are running a little bit late, but please.
Our freedom fighter, Mr. Mohammad Maqbul Hussain. Thank you. Now I call our president of Rampart Village Neighborhood Council, Mr. Philip Armstrong. They are our partner with the Banglar Bijay Bahar.
Thank you, Mikhail. Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon. Dhanabad, thank you. I am very honored to be here in this assembly today among your freedom fighters, your civic leaders, your youth of tomorrow and today. The Rampart Village Neighborhood Council is, in Bangladesh you have union parishads, which is the form of government that's the closest to the community. And in Los Angeles, we have neighborhood councils, which are also the level of government that is the closest and the most responsive to the community. And our job at the neighborhood council is to support the needs and the assets of the community in any way that we can. And when the community supports us, we are able to support you. And so this is an alliance, and we all know the value of alliances. Each person by ourselves, our voice is hard to hear, but when we join together, our voices are impossible to ignore. So again, Dhanabad.
40 million people of California. All of California. I am the majority leader of the Senate, and I'm the former Speaker of the California Assembly. We write all the laws and spend hundreds of billions of dollars. And I'm here today. I come from the San Fernando Valley, Mikhail. Thank you for including me. Because this is important. Because your community is important. You inform the fabric of who we are as the United States of America. You are an important part of all of us. And all I want to say is when I look at that sign, my father worked 35 years right over here, 3 blocks away, and I lived over here on Berendo for many years in Wilshire and know the community well. And I just want to make a couple of comments. First, let's change the name from Little Bangladesh to Big Bangladesh. Where's our councilwoman, Nithi Raman? We gotta do that. Little Bangladesh is too small. We gotta think big. And secondly, Professor, I watched a YouTube video of you some weeks ago, just by happenstance. And I just want you to know we have 10 wonderful campuses at the University of California. We have Stanford. We have Caltech. It's a great place. Where's your parents? They're right over there. You know, you should come to California. The weather's pretty good. God is on our side today. And the last thing I want to say, which really says it all, and it's your words. As you are knowledgeable in physics and mathematics, at the end of the day, it's about your humanity. It's about life. And if you look at your quote, teaching empathy and love for one another. Empathy and love for one another. That message is universal to all of us, that binds us all together. And someone so young and so brilliant, and yet informed by math and science, to be such a humanitarian. I'm on your campaign trail for president. Congratulations, Professor. We have a bunch of resolutions to give out, but I don't think we have time, so we'll pass them out because I know we're up against the clock. And but just thanks, everybody, and thanks for letting me be your Grand Marshal. It is a beautiful, beautiful honor for me personally. Thank you, everybody.
So thankful that you all have invited me to stand on this stage, because it is so unlikely that I am right here, right now. How I have risen to fame from just a single little talent that millions probably have out there. And some of you in this audience probably have this passion too. And so it is a miracle.
4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Thank you very much, sir. Everybody can go to their car and we will start the parade. Amazing.